Hello everybody, 1,079 ice baths in a row. Today we're doing it, 1,079 on a Wednesday. The plunge is nice and cold. Let's do our ice bath. Consistency, right? We're keeping up with consistency. Oh yeah. Doing hard things every single day. I told you a few days ago I was going to talk about Curt Cignetti, the coach of Indiana, the Hoosiers football team. It's like the best turnaround we've ever seen in college football. Before that, I used to talk about Mike Riley. I used to do classes and seminars teaching people about what Mike Riley did at Oregon State back in the 90s, because they had an incredible turnaround as well. 28 losing seasons in a row. And then Mike Riley took over in his second year. They had a winning season. His third year, they were actually a really good team and a bowl team. And then he left for the NFL. You do a good job like that in college, the NFL is going to want you. Dennis Erickson took over, and they only lost one game to Washington by a field goal, but they won the Fiesta Bowl over Notre Dame. I think it was 42-10 or 42-14, something like that. But I mean, they just destroyed them. Back then, that was the BCS era. We didn't have a playoff. But they were probably the best team in the country, literally. 3 years later, after that 28 consecutive losing seasons, and Mike Riley talked about how do you turn a program like that around? Both he and Curt Cignetti talked about the same thing, mindset. Changing the mindset and changing the culture of the players. You have to be able to believe you can do things. People can fake stuff all day long, but if you don't actually believe it, it's not going to happen. You can say, I believe in myself, I believe I can do things. Like, we watched Squid Game with my daughter, the actual Squid Game shows, and then we watched the follow-ups where they actually have the game shows where they give them $4.5 million for the real winner. They don't kill people, but it's a similar kind of concept. They play the same games, and they have little ink packs, like you simulate you died and you go out. But it's interesting to watch people saying, I have confidence in this, and they don't. They're just saying that. They're trying to convince themselves. The way you really convince yourself, the way you really get confidence and change your mindset is by doing little things better. Start with the little things. Mike Riley talked about that at Oregon State. He goes, we didn't talk about winning games. If I had talked about winning games, the players would have thought I was crazy. Winning a championship in the Pac-10, winning the national championship, it's like that would have been a joke. They were a terrible team. It's like nobody would have believed that. So we just started with, we can get better. We can each get better at what we're doing. So we bring in lots of position coaches, we bring in extra strength coaches, we get the players to believe, okay, I can actually improve, I can get better. That was step one. It wasn't about winning games. That was so far from where they were mentally. It was improvement. How do you improve something? Small little steps every single day. Eventually, you do improve. And then you get to the point where, I think we could win some games. You start really believing that. Then you start circling games in your calendar. These are games we could probably win. And then after a while, you start to expect to win. And then that turns into, we're going to win. I mean, it's just amazing to see that 3-year transition at Oregon State with the same kids, largely. They didn't have recruiting portals like they have now. It was the same kids that went 1-10, 0-11, and then they went 5-6, 7-5, and then the next year 11-2. A lot of those kids were the same people. So mindset is so powerful, and what Curt Cignetti has done in Indiana is just amazing. They're the second losingest program in the history of college football from the big Power 5 conferences. The second losingest program. They were the losingest program until just recently. We had enough wins. They have only lost 2 games in the last 2 years. Just amazing. At Indiana, right? Not at a blue blood Ohio State or one of the teams you would expect, Miami, Nebraska, Texas, one of the LSU, Alabama, the teams that typically do well every year. Georgia, it's nothing like that. This is Indiana. They're not even a mid-level conference team. They're a low-level conference team, and now they're the best team in the country. What he has done there is just really amazing. I'm not an Indiana fan, but I am now. I'm a Curt Cignetti fan. I'm a Duck fan. Of course, I'm an Oregon Duck, so I root for the Ducks. Hopefully we'll face them again. That's our only loss this year, by the way, was to Indiana. But you still have to respect and appreciate the turnaround. What he's done leadership-wise to change the culture and change the mindset is remarkable. We've never seen anything like it in college football. So pay attention. See what's going on with Indiana. I'll see you guys tomorrow.